if you're planning to YouTube this, you're going to be pulled down a rabbit hole really, really deep, and you're going to be begging for someone to dig you out.
Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome. We are joined by an extra special guest today, and I'll let her introduce herself in just a minute. And we wanted to have Karen on for a couple of reasons. One, because she's awesome and crushing it. And two, because she really epitomizes this idea of using her signature program as a way to live the kind of life that she really envisions for herself. And I'll let her share a little bit more about that. And we thought that given that we're talking all about the 10K Success System Scholarship, that we would bring on a little motivation for you, because I know that you likely have this idea in your mind of like, oh, success is possible for others, but not me. And we operate under the mantra, you can't model what you don't see. And it's so, so important to us for all of you to see everyday sort of practitioners and coaches who, started from scratch and really put in the time, put in the energy, committed to growth. I think most importantly, it's this idea of growth. And that's really what we're gonna talk a little bit about today. Karen has said she's happy to talk about anything. So if you all have questions, please post them in the comments below. You're welcome to ask anything. So welcome to our little morning show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be
Why
here.
don't we kick it off, and you can share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Karen Yaworsky. I have been in the health and fitness industry for 22 years. I started out as a personal trainer and group fitness instructor. I kind of climbed the corporate ladder within that industry and got to a point where I was managing multiple different gyms with a team of about 25 people underneath me, and felt like I was doing pretty good. And then the corporate culture was just sucking the life out of my being. And I started to want to make some changes. I stepped out of my position. I went back to school to become a nutritionist and a culinary expert and yoga instructor. And I felt so much more grounded in that skill set, but still not really knowing what to do with it. So I stepped away from gyms altogether. I tried working in clinics, wasn't my gig. I opened up my own studio and I was really enjoying that. I was teaching workshops, doing guest speaking events, and had my own studio, but then very quickly learned there was a ceiling to that. And if I wanted to grow, I had to figure out an option. And either it was going to be brick and mortar again, and I'd be managing a team again of trainers, which I did not want to do, kind of did that route. Or I wanted to jump into, the 21st century and explore online, which terrified me, to be completely honest, because it's so unfamiliar to me. I don't even download music. So thinking about starting an online business, there's that idea of it, right? You see the Instagram posts, and I definitely thought, cool, but that's not for me. I don't get that. Like I'm a pen and paper girl. So kind of telling myself why I couldn't do it. And that changed.
And so, okay, so what changed?
Well, I really started to understand I didn't want to go back to brick and mortar. So either I stay exactly where I am or I figure it out. And I wanted to figure it out. I wasn't going to settle for just staying exactly where I was. And so I found your team. And that's when I started stalking you for a little while. I joined the WBA with high hopes, but it was really intimidating for me because I didn't have any kind of experience in tech. even downloading a document gave me a panic attack. And I remember emailing your team after like week 2, being like, I don't even know where I downloaded it. I don't even know where it is. I don't think this is for me. And Laura, I think you answered that. It was a while back. But I didn't want to give up. And so I hired business coaches to try to help me through this process. And it didn't work out very well. And that's when I ended up at the WBA conference in 2019. And I went there with the intention of kind of scoping out coaching. I still didn't even really understand what 10K was, but I knew I wanted this, and I knew I needed help. And I was pretty certain that it was going to be you guys, but I wanted to just kind of scope it out for the weekend. And then I just bit the bullet and did it. And it was the decision that changed my life. I felt it in my being that day. And from that day, everything started to evolve.
Mm-hmm. And so let's talk about going from like this very traditional personal trainer, yoga, brick and mortar, to then here I am being like, you need a signature program. You need a signature program. What was that shift really like for you? Because we know that taking that model that has been like drilled into your brain for so long and trying to wrap your mind around having an ideal client and creating a signature program and really keeping your business simple and narrow. What was that transition like for you?
Well, yeah, figuring out a niche or an ideal client, that was challenging, because working in big gyms or clinics, you're kind of taught to help everybody,
Right.
And what I learned through that process is I always felt limited. I felt limited in my capabilities. I knew what I could deliver, but that model wasn't helping me get the biggest impact with my clients. And that's what I truly wanted to have. With my personal training clients, I wanted to talk nutrition. With my nutrition clients, I wanted to talk exercise. And I needed an umbrella to be able to help people that I could encompass it all. So I saw this as an opportunity to have a bigger impact, and also an opportunity to really start to be able to be picky with who I want to work with, right? Instead of just working with the masses. And sometimes when you're working with people who aren't your ideal client, it's extremely energy demanding and unfulfilling. And I do believe that we should have the opportunity to be able to create a position and a client base of people you actually like working with. So I saw it as an opportunity to work with people I liked and have a bigger impact. But fine tuning that was challenging, and it continuously evolves, I feel, as well.
And it's funny because I saw somebody else in the 10K success system post this, and it was them commenting on them just finishing their signature program submission, and then they submit it and they posted the screenshot of like, yay, the form, and it's submitted. And somebody else had said, yeah, I get it in theory, so I'll just YouTube it.
Yes.
I'll just YouTube how to do it. And it's so interesting. And maybe you want to just spend like a really quick minute elaborating, and then we'll sort of jump into like the bones of your business, because I think that's really intriguing to a lot of people too. But this whole concept of like, you actually have no clue until you dive in.
Mm-hmm.
And you think that it is something that you can just YouTube, or you can just, watch a couple of free trainings, or even in your experience, work with other coaches who maybe are quote unquote business coaches, but don't operate either in specific health and wellness, or have never grown an online business. So maybe if you're just able to sort of share the moment when you realized, oh crap, like I don't know what I don't know, kind of, and just sort of surrendered to that process.
Yeah, so I learned that pretty quick, actually, because going through and starting to figure out different platforms, if you're planning to YouTube this, you're going to be pulled down a rabbit hole really, really deep, and you're going to be begging for someone to dig you out. And it's just such again, a big energy waster and a time waster. If you're serious about building your business, you got to find, to me, the people who are serious about helping you and specific to what you want to build. Because that was where I made the mistake too. I hired different business coaches and they spoke very well. They came very well recommended, but they didn't know my business specifically and how I can build an online business with my vision. And so that's definitely what I really appreciated about this team. You guys get it really clearly. And there is no fluff. There is no miscommunication. It is exactly what it is. And I appreciate clarity. Clarity to me gets you there faster, right?
Yes.
You can YouTube it forever. It'll probably take you 4 years before you figure out ClickFunnels or Active Campaign. But if you want to make an impact within 6 months, to me, just go straight to the source.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Can we see behind the curtain?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the power. So,
Am I good?
yeah, you're good.
So before we dive in to the actual nuts and bolts of your business, I want to just quickly go back to, because you are actually now going to take us through an online business with all the tech and all the like interconnectedness and all of that. And I know you mentioned like 2 or 3 times already that tech was like a big piece that held you back. And I know it's the same for a lot of our community members and a lot of the people watching. How did you get over the fear of the tech? Like, how did you actually move from where you were to where you are going to be right now?
Well, baby steps and patience, and truthfully, once I actually sat down with some very clear tutorials and direction, it's so less intimidating than what I built it up to be. Because I have added so much to my program since, so many videos, so many lesson plans, and I added one this morning into the hub. I've built out another program. It's amazing how confident I feel in the tech component of it now when I'm coming from zero. So it's actually super easy once you get out of your own head.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Love it.
All right. So what is this, Karen?
So this
what are you
is-
showing us?
Yes, this is my program, the Chaos to Calm Method. As you can see over here, these are all of my lesson plans on a week-to-week basis. So each week, everyone gets a lesson plan, they get a menu plan, they get a workout, and everything is super simple for people to take them through the process of regaining control of their health and their body without the overwhelm. I cater to busy women, and so I wanted to make it as simple as possible for people to incorporate this into their lives so that there is no guesswork. For me, I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time Googling to figure out a business. For them, I don't want them spending a whole lot of time Googling to try to figure out their health. So putting it all together in a really streamlined approach that is clean, easy to work with. So again, my clients are busy. They don't want to be spending a lot of time trying to figure everything out. This is like their one-stop shop to get all of their resources.
Totally. And so I want to just really clarify the difference between, delivering content to people on a one-off basis, one-to-one in consultations, whether that's virtual or whether that's in office, and this. What do you think the key benefits are for your clients, giving them access to something like this, along with your mentorship and coaching, versus working with people in a very one-off, one-to-one, you come in, I customize, we move forward?
I honestly think it's so limited. And it's so funny because I've done it for 20 years, right? And I didn't even really realize how limited it was until I got this platform to be able to deliver to people. Because now they have the direction for nutrition. Now they have the support. Now they have the workouts, whether they do them with a group with me or they can tap into the exercise library. I feel like a better professional to be able to deliver a higher quality service because I have more to be able to deliver versus once a week for an hour. I'm very limited in what I can offer them and how many other hours are there in the week.
Yeah.
Right now they have this with them. This is what they've invested in so that they can tap into every single time, and they are supported every single day, not just 1 hour a week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so that is amazing. And I see that, I mean, obviously you're preaching to the choir. We see the benefits. Let's flip that around. For you, what is the difference between having this built out and ready to go and automated in this way in terms of the lifestyle you have and the impact that you have and the time that you have?
Well, creating this business literally has changed my life. It brought back freedom on multiple different ways. So financially, in 2020, I had the best year of my career in a pandemic and the first year of having an online business. So that made me feel really good. We paid off all of our debt. My husband and I like to travel in a 1984 camper van. So I work on the road while we travel, which is amazing. You know, booking calls while I'm hanging out looking at the ocean. That's a pretty cool feeling. We recently bought another property where we're building a tiny home. Again, it's created these opportunities. He's left his job so that he can now pursue building up his business and then working for me. So we get more time together. We get more time together to live the life that we want and pursue our other dreams, which honestly, life-changing.
Amazing. Do me a favor, stop sharing for one
Yeah.
sec. So that's phenomenal. And I want you to repeat that. I want you to talk about just for a minute, because I don't want anybody to get distracted by the screen share and the tech and be like, oh my God, the tech. Let's do that again. So you came in, did you have, an email list? Did you have any assets, any program, anything, and just walk us through sort of that really specific timeline.
So I had an email list of about 350 people.
Okay.
And a lot of those were personal contacts. So like, Aunt Susie's probably not really interested to pursue this with me. I had a Facebook business page, which didn't really do much for me. I kind of played around on Instagram a little bit, but again, not really much of anything. So now I have an email list of almost 3,000 people. So this is about a year and a half since I've had this business. About 3,000 people on my email list, over 2,000 people in my Facebook group, a very active Facebook group, very engaging as well. I spend a heck of a lot more time on Instagram and I love it. Being from someone who didn't do tech, who broke out in hives every single time I went live. Like I'm on it all the time now, and I've really embraced it because I understand the impact. And yeah, so it's really grown with ease. It didn't feel, not that I don't work, because I certainly work a lot, but building up those elements that I know help to facilitate my business through things like lead magnets and funnels, which again, I didn't even know what the heck that was before. I had to Google what it was.
Yeah. And I think, that's a very common question. How do I get clients? Okay, yes, the signature program, but then it's like, well, how do I get these clients and can I enroll them at above average fee? So how did that feel for you when you started to get clients and enroll them at above average fee? You and I and another colleague, Lisa, had a really important conversation on last Monday, about metrics and money and the growth and sort of switching that framework and really, building now towards your growth, because when you get to this level, you have a responsibility to vision the business differently and the impact that you want to have. And so can you share a little bit about what that has felt like, about getting clients and enrolling them, and just that shift?
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling to feel successful, to feel like you have an opportunity to help people, and see it grow in a way. It grew much faster than I thought it would. I gave myself a timeline of about 5 years, well, 3 to 5 years. And in 1 year, I was blown away at the impact, especially through a pandemic. So it certainly gives me a lot of confidence that this is going to continue to grow. And, I see things so differently now. And as it grows, I recognize, okay, we need more support. So we're growing, wide and getting a team. I now have 4 people that is part of my team, which I didn't even envision before at all. Truthfully, I thought it would just be me on my computer. And the support that is necessary as it grows. So really building a company, and really stepping into the role of a CEO versus I'm an entrepreneur, or I have a business. It took me forever to even call myself an entrepreneur. And now I'm a boss, and that feels good.
Amazing. Amazing. Laura, any questions?
Yeah, I know you said we can ask anything, so I'm hoping this is okay. Can you walk people through what the financials really looked like for you last year, like in 2020? What you started out making a month, what you finished up making a month, what it costs to make that much. Like, what does that really look like? Because I think for so many, that feels like such a heavy mystery and they're afraid to ask. And it feels just like this very esoteric thing they don't want to talk about. So can you walk through the practicalities? Like, what was the math on that?
Yeah, so I'll break it down for you. In 2020, I made 127,000, which is pretty significant. I think I almost doubled my income from the year before. And some of that, it felt really good. And there's a cost to that. There's a cost from time, but there's also a cost in terms of, your platform fees, your advertising, your Facebook ads. And I remember when I started my first Facebook ad, I remember being in like full on panic mode, like $5 a day. Like I don't go to Starbucks because I don't want to spend $5 a day, and it kind of made me anxious that is this actually going to work? And I just took a deep breath and trust. And it works, because that's how people come into your world. The internet is a wide open space. You can't just build a program, put it out there and like with a hope and a prayer. We have to have a system. And so once I let go of that attachment and understood this cost benefits my business, I've since upped my budget for my Facebook ads, upped my budget for my active campaign, because I have more contacts, upped my budget for support because I need it, because my business is growing. And all of that, being able to do all of that also increased my income. So, you have to always recognize no matter what business you're running, whether it's a brick and mortar or online, there's costs to business. I'm not buying supplies. I'm using hosting sites and I'm using advertising, and I'm getting additional support, but it still always works out in the end, as long as you're willing to put the work in.
Amazing.
Amazing. What would you say to someone who's sitting there with this feeling of like, they're watching you and they're listening to you and they're thinking, I wish that could be me. Like, I want the impact. I want, to travel. I want a lifestyle. I want to feel like I mean something to people, that I'm able to, I want to be a part of other people's story. I want to be a part of their change. And maybe they spent 20 years in a clinic or in a gym or being a lawyer or a teacher or whatever, and they want to make that change. What advice do you have for them?
Well, if you truly want to do that, you absolutely can do that. Because I was that person, kind of watching other people and people in the industry being more successful than me, and wanting that, and either at sometimes feeling resentful because they had it and I didn't. And once I got out of my own head, part of what drove me is seeing other people do this who had less qualifications than me. And it drove me nuts. And what I kind of always reminded myself of is, if they can do it, so can I. They're a human being. I'm a human being. And there's no way I can't do this. I just have to align myself with the right teachers to be able to learn how. And in full transparency, one thing I want for people to understand too is, seeing this lifestyle and seeing this work ethic, I grew up with absolutely nothing, zero support. This is like literally trailer park, Northern Ontario, no support, on my own since 17, put myself through school 4 times. So it feels really good to be on this side of it and building it all myself, and so, like, I didn't come from a family of entrepreneurs. I didn't come, getting a lot of support along the way. I wanted it so bad, and I found the right people to help get me there. And I just put my head down and did the work, and was so grateful for every moment of it. So if that's truly what you want to do, you absolutely can do it if you are aligned with the right people.
First of all, congratulations, because that is just, it's so meaningful for us, because it's when people come in to work with us, we want it so badly for them, more than they want it for themselves, because they don't really grasp what's going on, right? I think it's fair to say that when you come in, and I feel like our current 10K success clients would agree, when they come in, they're like, okay, I'll learn the tech, and I'll set up a Facebook group, and I'll like create a signature program. And we're like, haha, like, you wait, friend, you just wait. And we want it so bad, and we believe so hard, because we know how possible it is, right? Because we've seen it so many times that it almost feels frustrating to us when other people are like, well, that's not possible for me. And we're like, but it is. And there is like this switch. We see it all the time. There's some switch that happens when you go from, I'm not sure, I don't do tech, I'm not on social media, I don't know if this is for me, to like fully committing, fully embracing, fully like all in, to like, okay, it's game time, like, let's go. And there's a switch that happens. Like, you sort of just build up a little capability, and you sort of prove to yourself that you can do it, whether that's because you added a video or you went live and you didn't die, all of those things. And there's this switch. So we operate under the mantra that you can't model what you don't see. And like always, we're just going to keep showing y'all, like, here's proof. We're all human, right? We're all human. So if that's true and you want to have impact, you can do it. It's a choice, though. It is a very clear choice that you have to wake up and make every single day. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for so openly talking about your journey and all of that good stuff. Thanks, everybody, so much for hanging out. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will talk soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.